Hello.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Did you have a wonderful Easter?
I did. How about you?
Did you hunt for eggs?
I hid eggs.
You hid eggs?
I hid eggs.
I remember when I was little, my mom hid one in a boot.
A boot?
And like an old boot, and I never found it when I was really little. And then I think somebody stuck their foot in it a year later. And then actually, but I remember how bad the whole house smelled, actually. But it doesn't matter. So I'm excited about our topic today.
Good.
This is Mel Robbins, the 5-second rule. And she is a very powerful, very intelligent, very successful person who came up with a fabulous idea on how to overcome hesitation and, kind of still leaning on that theme of procrastination and everything that we dealt with last week. So I thought I would just jump right in and talk a little bit about it. So again, it's called the 5-second rule, the fastest way to change your life. So by Mel Robbins, and I know I had first seen her on TED Talks. I don't know if you've ever watched any of the TED Talks.
Of hers, I have.
So she was on TED Talks, and she had kind of gone from really nothing to rising to a level of success. And so when TED Talks asked her to come speak, she came and she gave her speech about her plan and what had happened in her life and how she'd become what she'd become and how she was running a show now and all these different things. And then in the last minute, without even really addressing it in a formal sort of way, she talked about, she goes, and it all came down to, this 5-second rule. And where basically, and she kind of explained how the 5-second rule, and then she moved on and went back to the thing, and that was it. And then from that point, she received letter after letter after letter, emails, texts, comments about how that little segment of like 30 seconds to a minute about that 5-second rule had changed some people's lives. And so she didn't even realize what she was saying when she said it, but it ended up going on to where she created this book. She speaks on it specifically. And so kind of a cool little story. And that's how it all started. So I'm going to just run through the book a little bit. And it's a little bit more of a story than, how much some of these like 101 exercises for the soul are like this and this and do this and this. This is more like background of where she came from.
Oh, cool.
How she got to where she's at. So basically, I'll give you a little bit of background. So she graduated from college. She went to law school. She moved to Boston when she met a guy and married him. His name is Chris. And so Chris was getting his MBA, I think, at Boston U or something like that. So then he graduates from college, and then his goal was to create a restaurant. And hers was to go into some form of media. So he creates a pizza place, and it does really, really well. And she gets a job working for a media company, doing some work on the side. I think it was Fox. And all of a sudden, they're doing really good. But then they decided to expand the pizza place, and one location after another ended up practically bankrupting them. And so even though they were out acting like this was doing really good, and they had also taken a lot of their friends' money, and their friends had invested in this business, and everyone was investing in this pizza place. And so then they would go out, and then she unfortunately got into a situation. She had a couple kids, I think 3, she said, and then got into a situation, where she kind of lost her job, unfortunately, doing what she was doing and trying to balance everything. And then they were slowly but surely going bankrupt. They stopped going out and seeing people, because when they would go out to see people, they had to basically tell them that they had lost the investment that they'd made in their restaurants. And she was basically, they got to a point of kind of like self-loathing, where she was really upset about her life and had no idea what to do and was depressed. And, it came to the point where like the simple things were difficult. I don't know if you've ever been there in your life.
Sure.
But,
Yeah.
No job. They were on the verge of bankruptcy. She said she was drinking heavy. She was depressed. She was really angry at her husband. She was blaming him for wiping them out in the restaurant business. And just, and then when they would go out, they would pretend they were normal, but secretly behind the scenes, they were financially distraught. And, they had so much resentment in the marriage and all this different stuff, because everything had kind of gone to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah. All the trust was gone.
All the trust was gone. And so then she kind of started looking at things and realizing that there are things that you can do to help it. And it all kind of happened in a moment, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. But basically, there's kind of what she decided, and I'm giving you the overview real quick, and then we're going to go back to it. But there's kind of a 5-second moment of hesitation that defines your life. So when you want to do something and you don't do it, you're just kind of you're kind of thinking it through and waiting it. All of a sudden, you don't do it after 5 seconds goes by. I told you the other day, I packed up my mountain bike, I put on my ridiculous outfit, I got out that stupid helmet, I did the whole thing, I walked all the way out, I stood there and I thought about it, And I went back in the house and I think I made myself a sandwich.
The visual is just perfection right now.
But, I mean, I was right there. I was in that 5 seconds. I mean, I literally was going to lift my bike up and put it in the bag.
What
I just decided I wanted a sandwich, I mean, and I didn't go, and I laughed because I wore the outfit around the house for about 2 hours, had the butt pads in it, because, from riding the bike. But it's okay. It is what it is. But it's that moment when you start thinking about what you need to do instead of doing what you need to do. And you're thinking about it instead of doing it, and then it just kind of causes problems. And again, once you think about it for more than 5 seconds, you never end up doing it. That's kind of the theory behind it. And this book is going to kind of show you the rules on how to beat excuses and fears that hold you back in a couple of different things. So that's really what it's about.
I like it.
And now I can tell you this too. Based on where she started the book and where she's at today, her life is completely different. She has a very successful TV show. She is loaded. She does consulting all over the place. She is an author. Her marriage is great. Her husband's businesses are cranking.
Is she still with Chris?
Yes, yeah, and she's just all around confident and doing great, wonderful things. And she says that it all came down to an epiphany, and we're going to talk about that epiphany and how she did it. And so when she was on that TED Talk, and when she was, giving that little 5-second rule explanation for less than a minute, at that point, and she has them posted in the book, she started getting posts about people saying, I've lost 200 pounds based on your 5-second rule. She said, I've quit drinking based on your 5-second rule. I wrote my first book based on your 5-second rule. I've stopped smoking because of the 5-second rule. I've become a better father. I've become a better spouse. I've quadrupled my income. So that's when she started realizing, this is before she even created the book. It was just that little piece in that TED Talk. And that's when she's like, I'm onto something. You know what I mean? And so she was seeing it in her own life, but she realized that people that started to click, And also for some people, they were writing, and you can see in the book posts of how they overcame anxiety, how they finally decided to get divorced out of an abusive marriage, how they were able to deal with the divorce situation. People that were considering suicide and made that decision in that 5 seconds that they're not going to do it and they're going to change their worlds. So pretty cool stuff. So part 1 is 5 seconds to change your life. And that starts out with just a quote, and it says, if you're searching for that one person who will change your life, look in the mirror.
Yeah, it's you.
Yeah, we always talk about that, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of where it is, she did talk in one of the speeches I walked about, like we talked about this last week with Eat That Frog, but we're all, I need a hero. Yeah. Fortunately, most of the time that's not going to happen.
Right.
We are the hero. We have to do it ourselves. And, I do think a lot of people kind of wait for that, but I don't think it happens. But anyways, so.
I think you're right.
All right, so the 5-second rule changed everything, but it taught her just one thing, and that's how to change. And this one I thought was important. It says, the 5-second rule for her replaced her tendency to overthink the smallest moves. Because you and I have been talking about that. We've been talking about analysis paralysis.
Yes.
And do you have analysis paralysis, by the way?
Yes, that's why I wear this almost the same shirt every Monday and Friday.
Oh, and I thought you were trying to do the Bill Gates or the Steve Jobs.
Well,
and
it just
Zuckerberg.
takes the stress out of it. Even if I'm tired of wearing it, I'm like, I own other clothes, by the way, guys. But it's so stressful. I'm like, ugh. So I took that stress out of it and just.
Yeah,
so,
it is nice.
Get it. I do get it very bad.
Well, and I think we all do, and and we were having the Fired Up Friday, and I'm really guilty of it. And that's one of the problems for all of us out there, and that's all of you guys, is that the overthinking of things makes us end up not doing anything.
Right.
And it's like inside of us there is these fears, and there's these fear of making a mistake. And I have a few different friends they actually literally suffer for it. I almost feel like they could be diagnosed with it, and it's really unfortunate. But it's just this fear that you're going to make a mistake, or this fear that you're going to have to start over, or this fear that you're going to go broke, or it's just one thing after another where that analysis paralysis is just something taking us back and freaking us out.
And I think like being judged, I think especially like how we're supposed to be putting posts on Facebook and Instagram and all of that, we're all so afraid of being judged and looked at like we're dumb or ugly or unprofessional or anything. Just do it. I mean, as long as you're not cursing or showing your business.
Right.
If that's you too, you do you, boo. You know?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But again, and I think that a lot of people don't post because they're afraid they're going to look stupid or whatever.
And so then they just do nothing, and then nobody knows they're a realtor or
and that's kind of leads into what we're talking about. So anyways, I'm going to jump right in. And it says, let's talk about how we can change our lives 5 seconds at a time.
Okay.
And because the 5-second rule, and this is what she's saying, and we're not to the content of it yet, but the 5-second rule kind of wakes up that inner genius and that leader and that rock star, that athlete, and it becomes a change agent inside of you. So just think, and I think about this a lot, but it talks about, and I'm getting ahead of myself, but it talks about leading with your heart. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, there's things that you want to do, mm-hmm. And there's things that you want to say, there's conversations you want to have, there's times you want to raise your hand, mm-hmm. you want to interject in a conversation, and we don't do it because of that fear. And yet your heart is the one telling you to do it, not your head, you know what I mean? And we're all afraid. I remember back in school, making a comment in class and then feeling stupid about it.
Oh, my life.
You know what I mean? And then you're like, why did I say that? But mm-hmm. that little fear keeps you for the rest of your life never being willing to step up again because you don't want to look stupid.
Yeah.
So, so the first chapter, again, I talked about, alcohol, depression, but all the posts and stuff were so positive. And basically her point is that we all have greatness inside of us, and that we all have a bigger purpose, and there's bigger things that we want to do with our lives and better things that we want to do with our lives, but we don't do it because of those fears and because of inaction and because of analysis paralysis. And the rule itself, acting on that feeling, and I'm sure it's got to be a good moral feeling. That's one thing that wasn't adjusted in here. But I'm going to do that. But the rule gives you clarity, and it gives you the courage to act on it.
Yeah.
And only through action, and actually doing things can we unlock that power inside to be the person that we've wanted to be. And I really believe this, and I hope you guys are feeling this because I'm feeling it. And mm-hmm. what I mean is, it's just we're all being held back. We're all being held mm-hmm. back by analysis paralysis, by indecision, by not making action, by fear, and it doesn't help us be the best person that we want to be.
And like you just said, not listening to your heart. And I think women, we tend to do it more already, but you gentlemen out there, if you follow, you can think of it as your heart, your gut, your soul. If you follow what's really coming through to you, you're going to do the right thing.
It's true.
It's
true. It's absolutely true. And so, and basically it says this. This is her exact line. Honor yourself, champion your own ideas, and have faith in yourself.
Say it again.
Honor yourself, mm-hmm. champion your own ideas, and have faith in yourself.
That's good.
Because I think so many of us don't live up to our full potential because of those fears. I'm just going to say everyone. Every one of us, mm-hmm. because we're just so scared of what people are going to think. We could fail. And what's funny is even if we did fail, we're not going to starve.
No.
We're still going to eat.
No, we're still going to be okay. You're still going to have friends. You're still going to have people who love you.
Right? But we just kind of stay stuck. So, and one of the things that she said is, you're one decision away from a completely different life. I know, and that seems scary. See your fear you just had?
Yeah.
That's scary. You're one decision away from a completely different life. Ooh. And she says, but the funny part is you're already using it. There are times in your life when you've moved that fast, mm-hmm. within 5 seconds, and changed your life. And the question is, how many life decisions have you made just on instinct? Mm-hmm. Do you ever get things where there's absolutely no clear idea of why you're doing it, mm-hmm. but you do it, mm-hmm. and you don't even know why? Mm-hmm. That's what she's talking about. That's the heart talking. We built this studio, and next thing you know, we have a show, and we didn't, you know what I'm saying? So it was a decision we didn't really even know why we're doing it.
No.
And she calls it a heart first decision.
Heart first.
Where you ignore your fears and you let courage and your confidence speak for you. Heart first. And one of the examples was this lady got a call, and her sister had died back east, just very, very quickly, unexpected. Mm-hmm. And so she flies back east. She walks into the house, and the girl's 2 little daughters are sitting right there. And immediately within that 5 seconds, she said, "You girls are coming to live with me." Hadn't even thought about it. But that quick move, that heart speaking, said, and then she wasn't married or anything. And from mm-hmm. there, she got married. She had 3 more kids. She's got a house full of 5 kids now. She's super happy. Everything's great. But she listened to her heart and so you've done the same thing. We've made decisions that were in 5 seconds. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, do you want to blah, blah, blah? Yes. Mm-hmm. You just feel it, you know it, and you do it. That's the
and
5
you're
second
like, oh
rule.
God,
What did I do?
What did I do? What are we doing now?
Right.
Where did I say yes?
Right,
Yeah.
right. So, so that's where she's at with that, and so she loved the no-brainer. And the lady who went to get the kids, she said, I knew for me it was a no-brainer. And she said, I love, Mel Robbins said, I love no-brainer because that means your brain wasn't in the decision; it was just your heart, and that's where we got to get to. When your heart speaks first, we need to listen.
Okay.
So that's the point. And by the way, I realize that this is not like a really interactive topic. So if anybody would like to jump in and has anything that they want to say that addresses this, people have said, I'm going to get into real estate. Boom, they do it. I'm going to go online right now, and I'm going to do that within 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to, should I call my clients? Should I call Top 20? 5, 4, 3, do it. You know what I mean? Because if you don't, you may never do it.
Yeah.
So it's the work of learning how to love and trust yourself enough to stop waiting and start leaning. This is what she said. Start leaning into the magic, the opportunities, enjoy your life, enjoy your work, and all the opportunities that relationships have to offer. So she's just saying, lean into it. Like, lean into the spiritual side of things, the heart side of things, which is difficult for me.
Yeah, that's why. It's so funny because he showed me 5 books, and he said, okay, you choose which one. And I chose this one. I got, oh God, he's not going to do it. He's going to hate it. But something said to me, I didn't even want to tell you what book, because we all know Chuck. He likes to make his own decisions. But I said, and it's opening up other things for us.
Yeah, for sure. And it was interesting going through all the books. And Adam had his own book. He wanted to do Jordan Peterson, The 12 Rules of Life, and all that stuff. But
we got all the time in the world, guys.
We do.
All the time in the world.
We do. And it's been good. And at first I didn't think it was going to be that great, but now it's starting to come on. And so during that 5 seconds, she talked about what you really have to have during that 5 seconds is courage.
Okay.
Really, that 5 seconds is about forcing yourself to have the courage to go do what you need to do in that 5 seconds. So the word is courage, and then she defined it. Courage is the ability to do something that is difficult or scary. It is, second definition, stepping outside of your comfort zone. Third one is sharing your ideas, speaking up, or showing up. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
That's actually a definition of courage. Sharing your ideas, speaking up, or showing up.
Which is true.
Isn't that interesting?
Because you have to have courage. I didn't know that. I don't know if that's in Webster's. But.
Another big one, standing firm in your beliefs and values. Standing firm. But the big one I thought you'd like. And number 5 was, and some days, courage is just getting out of bed.
It's so true.
For some people, it is just about getting out of bed because life is so hard and life feels so heavy. And, it's just like, and that's where she was. She was continually hitting the snooze every single morning. And she said, she was so depressed because she had been drinking the night before and she was drinking all the time. Her kids were missing the bus every day.
Oh, God.
She said she was starting to feel like a failure as a mother. She was taking her kids to the school late. So she was just really in a dark place. And you know what? Every one of us at some point in our life has been in that dark place.
Yes. And if you haven't, well, look out or you're lying.
Yeah, right? So it's just unfortunate but true, So, and then she started talking about, what she knew she was in a rut. She knew that she was headed towards divorce. She knew that she was drinking too much. She knew that she was heading towards bankruptcy. Everything was crashing in around her. And then here's how she discovered the 5-second rule. And she put a quote out there from J.R.R. Tolkien, The Hobbit, right?
Okay, I was like, why do I know that name?
Courage is found in unlikely places, right? So courage is found in unlikely places. You just never know when it's going to hit you.
Yeah.
I'm getting sappy about this one, but
that's good.
So she said, she was sitting there and she was at home and she said, I'm 41. I'm having problems with money, with work, with my marriage. She said my alarm would go off. I'd look at it. She goes, I'd hit snooze until the thing practically didn't hit snooze anymore, over and over. And she said when I would open my eyes, I would think about all the things that were crashing in on me. Money and my relationships and a potential divorce and, I'm a poor mother and, all of these things. And she was just depressed looking at the negatives. And she said she always felt tired. She always ran late. And she just always felt totally overwhelmed all the time. What?
My daughter, my middle child, is always late. And I told her this weekend, I said, it's your control issue, and it's about ready to put me into a grave. I said, you cause me so much anxiety. But because running late, it doesn't only cause you anxiety, it causes everyone else anxiety. So sorry, totally interjecting.
No, and Darlene just said that she's absolutely and totally been there. I think we've all been there, tired.
Yes.
And it can be a little catalyst of one thing in your life that happens that really can depress you and knock you out. And so we have to figure out a way to to get that mojo back. And that's what
Yes.
she was looking for. And if you see her, she's intelligent. But you know what? It doesn't matter how smart you are, how great you are. Life will
No.
kick your ass
Yes.
if you let it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It will. It will. So again, I mentioned how she went to law school and landed these development deals and opened the pizza place, and it was failing. And like I said, she drank too much, and so you know where she was.
Right.
But the big thing again, and blaming the husband and all that, she stopped working out. You know, because it seems to be this downward spiral cycle when you start to get in these places. You know. And she did not reach out to her friends because she was embarrassed. Not only was she embarrassed to reach out to her friends, but they had invested in their failing restaurants.
Yeah.
You're going to call
Yeah,
your
the
friends and say,
money
hey,
is-
you want to go hang out after you just lost $50,000? And she was just spending a bunch of time in her place, just overthinking and paralyzed with ideas, and which just made it worse. So, and she just said, you know, the smallest things became so hard. And public speaking, you know, staying positive, making a decision, finding time for yourself, you know, leaving the house. Going to a high school reunion and feeling good about yourself.
Oh, God.
You know, talking to someone you find attractive. You know, like, hey, what's your name? You know, what I mean,
Yeah, you can't.
it's a cycle. You know, stepping on a dance floor when you're at a wedding. You know what I mean? You don't have a problem with that, but
No.
going to the gym.
Yeah. And that's scary.
Saying no to
Ooh.
people, right? That's a tough one for you, right? Especially back in your earlier days.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
That was funny. Did y'all get that? That was funny.
Admitting you were wrong. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
those are tough things. So, and you know, she was saying that basically, first thing she'd try to do is she would lay there and she'd say, tomorrow I'm going to change. I'm going to wake up earlier. I'm going to have a better attitude. I'm going to try a little harder. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to be nice to my husband. I'm going to eat healthy. I'm not going to drink so much. Tomorrow's going to be the future me. But she just got into the cycle where it just never happened.
Right.
And then it all changed.
Okay.
There
what
was a
her,
moment when it
okay.
all changed. She said that she was walking by the living room, and she looked over at the television, and there was a launch going on. And it was a true rocket launch, you know, that they were sending up a shuttle and doing all this different stuff, and she was watching it, and she said she just kind of got sucked into it, and she looked at it, and it was, you know, a 5-second countdown, and she said it was, you know, you could see the fire, and you could see the smoke, and it was 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and she said, I watched this rocket take off, and all the juice and everything that was behind it on its mission, on its way to do whatever it was, and she goes, and that was the moment when I decided to change my life, is when I saw that rocket on TV. That was the moment. And she said, you know, that's it. She goes, I am going to start tomorrow morning. Remember we read that one by that major, I think it was Major, I don't remember his rank, but you know, the Make My Bed.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So it's the same thing. You know, he says, I'm going to launch myself out of bed tomorrow like a rocket. And I'm going to move so fast that I will not have time to talk myself out of it. So
Okay, I like that. I was like, where's this going?
This is where it started.
Yeah.
So, you know, and she said this instinct to launch myself out of my bed was kind of my inner wisdom talking. You know, I was at my tipping point, and I knew that I had to make decisions, and I had to follow the instructions of this inner wisdom that was telling me this is what you need to do. So she said my alarm went off. She goes, I was tired. She goes, I live in Boston. She goes, I set it for 6 a.m. It's dark. It's cold. It's miserable outside.
Yeah.
She said, but she goes, I laid there in bed, and I'm like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, flipped off her covers, stepped out of the bed, and stood up. And literally that was the beginning of her life. And that's when it all began for her.
That's cool.
Is that, you know, so she knew that I am up, I am ready, and now she was ready for the day. She wasn't sleeping in anymore. She wasn't doing any of those things. So it started at that moment for her. And now she's a very successful woman. And she, you know, moments.
Yeah.
We talk about those powerful moments that we have in our life,
Yeah.
you know, and that was hers, you know. She kind of referred to a study from Cornell, Duke, and U of A. They did one together, that there's a correlation between your instinct to act and your brain. And your instinct being your gut, you know, like, I need to get up, I need to do this, and your brain's telling you yes. And I thought this was, and I'm going to steal this one forever. When you set a goal, right, when you set a goal, like my goal tomorrow is to get up, your brain opens up a task list without you even knowing it. You know, and I thought that was pretty cool, because we always talk about that, but we never really look at it that way.
Yeah.
So when you set a goal, your brain opens up a task list. And when it comes to goals, dreams, you know, changing your life, your inner wisdom is genius. Like, it really is. And your goal-related impulses, urges, instincts, they're there to guide you, and you just need to learn to bet on them. You got to trust that, you know, and I'm really bad about that. But
That's good.
And then she started taking all of those things one at a time, you know. And so, like I said, instead of hitting snooze, she started realizing that she can institute these things in more ways than just the wake up. So,
Okay.
So let's say that, and she needed to start applying for jobs, and that's what she needed to do. So she's like, I need to just do it. And then, and she's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, over to the computer and do it. And whether it's making the kids lunches, I got to make the kids lunches. 5, 4, but you understand? So it started, and she said that counting backwards asserts control in your brain, and it interrupts your normal mode of thinking. So it just kind of scrambles you real quick. And anybody on this call, even in your head right now, or even out loud, just say 4, 3, 2. Now tell me, does this make you want to do something though, Jenny?
Yeah, it does.
5, 4.
No, it's like, okay.
3, 2, 1.
No, it's
you
good.
feel like you're supposed to go do something right now.
It's good.
You know what I mean? And I don't know what the hell it is, but we need to do it.
No, but we're going to do it. I don't know.
So it's interrupting that brain, interrupting those thought process, and and it takes the overthinking out of it. So if we know, for example, that we need to make calls or do whatever, we know what we need to do, but we still like, okay, how am I going to do it? This, that, as opposed to just like, you know what, 5, 4, and pick up that phone. I'm going to text my clients.
I really like this.
You like it?
I really do. Does anybody else really dig this? Okay, Isabel digs it. Can I see some head nods? Tom's laughing. I don't know if he's happy about it or... Okay, Brian, yes. Denise, okay.
So taking the overthink about it, and you just... I was laughing this morning as I was getting ready for this, and I'm like, 5, 4, and I'm like, I stood up and I'm like, I don't have anything to do, but I'm ready.
All right.
I got to get to the office, I guess. But so I thought that was pretty cool. Sonia, I see Sonia's on the call, by the way. And if you have any comments on that as well, but and while I say this, Sonia, it's also like going to the gym. I need to go to the gym, and if you go 5, 4, 3, you'll go through your shoes on. You know what I mean? But any comments on that, Sonia?
Oh, absolutely. Is my internet bad?
No.
Oh, okay. I was thinking back through my life, how many decisions I made in 5 seconds that affected it. And one of the big ones was Richard came home from the office one day and said, they're asking us to go to El Salvador for 2 years. What do you think? And I said, sure, let's go. And then I said, where is El Salvador? And he told me it was in the jungles of Central America, where there were no schools, no TV, no communication, and we would be living in the outback. And talk about courage, but we did it, and I look at the effects on it. 17 years of being in Latin America, and we adopted a daughter. We had so many experiences, and if I would have said no, none of that would have happened. So I love the 5-second rule. And the other thing...
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying you'd be a normal schmo like us if you wouldn't have made that decision. Then you got to go be worldly. So good for you.
Yeah, no, it changed our life in many ways, but it is those moment decisions that really help. And I had this conversation with Teresa. I'm sorry she's not on today because she usually is. But she and I talked about this a long time ago, and it has made a world of difference in her life. And I think people will begin to see it as we come back together on how she is living by that 5-second rule. She goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's do it. And she gets up and does it. So kudos to Teresa. And I'm sorry she's not here to hear it, but she lives by it, and it's making a huge difference in her life.
Nice. So yeah, I mean, can you think of any?
Well, moving to Charleston.
That's
Jeremy
true.
said, let's go. And like I tell you guys all the time, usually it takes us 8 years to make any plans. So when he said, let's go, and poor Jennifer, I left her in such a lurch. But yeah, there's one, leaving a husband.
Mm-hmm. You decided that in 5 seconds?
It happened because you think you can handle, you think you can tolerate, you think you can do it. And then you're like, oh, this isn't how I want my children to live. This isn't what life is. Ooh, got deep there. And then marrying my second one, 23 years later.
Right. Well, thank you for sharing that, by the way.
You're welcome.
But that's a good one. So, I mean, and if anybody else has anything that they wanted to share, like, because we all do have those 5-second ones.
We do.
Those things where, it could have been, hey, you want to start a show? Let's go. Hey,
we did that too.
You want to go on a trip? Let's go. Like, whatever it may be, I love that.
Yeah,
That spontaneity.
You live like a lot of that.
Oh, I love spontaneity.
Yeah.
Yes.
Chuck, another one that happened was when we were living in Alaska, and you called me.
Mm-hmm.
And you said, would you consider being a mentor? And I said, yes. And I didn't even think about it. And then I realized, how can I be a mentor? How can I be a coach in Alaska? And then the details. But it's taken me along this career now. So
Yeah,
that
and
was another.
you were sitting on a park bench. I remember that conversation years and years ago. Yeah, that's
Yes.
really funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's cool, and so again, and basically the point is, there's only 5 seconds between your initial instinct to act and your brain stopping you. And I don't know, I just feel like, and based on her book, you can just live a more fulfilled life if you occasionally act in that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I think that's the point. And that's the exciting part about the book, and the exciting part about how we think, because and one of the quotes that he has is, she made a promise that if there was something she needed to change for the better, that she would use the rule. And whether it's the gym, drinking less, better mom, better wife, and one of the big things that I thought was pretty impactful, because I think we all get into this, is she also used it because she was very resentful of her husband, and she was very resentful of the financial situation that they were in and all that sort of stuff. And when she would start feeling angry and know that she was going to lash out, she would also use it the opposite direction. So instead of talking, she would say, in this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to learn to be a nicer, better, more supportive wife.
I think that's brilliant.
So it was both ways. It wasn't just like, hey, a-hole, you just bankrupted us. It was like, I'm just going to be quiet and say, I know you didn't mean to do what you did. But that 5 seconds, she jogged her brain, 5, 4, 3, 2, and it reset everything. So it worked the other way too.
I think that is probably even more powerful than the other.
I would agree. I mean, so again, and that's where it can start being used in a lot of different ways. And I'm going to go for a run. And that's her exact words, where I felt myself being bitchy. She goes, I knew that I was just about to be bitchy. And I'm like, I'm not going to be bitchy. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then she would also say, every time I would catch myself procrastinating, because when you're procrastinating, and maybe this could be what helps us all, is, if you catch yourself procrastinating, you can count backwards and get to work. Because when you're procrastinating.
When am I not?
No, you're really good about it, especially lately, as far as you know. So it's just basically pushing yourself into action. And once you push yourself into reaction, it creates a chain reaction of confidence and productivity. And where you're just no longer trapped by that analysis paralysis. And that's why she's leading an exciting life. That's why she's an author. Her kids are doing great. Her husband now is instituted in his life. He's doing great. She's got her own show. It's just a matter of us all not getting trapped by analysis paralysis. And instituting that little piece all the time to know where you want to go and do the things that you want to do, and just go. And I do believe in this, because we talked about this with the last book, Brian Tracy. We know what to do, but a lot of us continue to live a life of inaction. And it's just because we're stuck and we're scared.
Yeah, scared.
And
have courage.
And those that have more confidence end up living the grander lives. Those that choose to take action end up living the more exciting, more successful lives. That's the book talking about.
No, and you'll get courage with every step.
I absolutely believe in it. And I believe that action is key, and inaction is going to paralyze us. And it does. It holds us all back. Because everybody on this call, every one of you guys out there, could be anybody you wanted to be. You could be the next Oprah. You could be the number one agent in the entire real estate company.
Absolutely.
You could be, anybody that you want to be, if you can just overcome those fears and that hesitation. Go ahead.
This just made me think of this. So even if you didn't have the parents who said that, even if you don't have the spouse or the siblings who say you can do that, be that for yourself. I mean, I was lucky enough, even as a girl, I was born in 1969. Our dad told us, being a woman is even better. You have more opportunities than a man. And so be that for yourself. You don't have to have someone else telling you you have the courage. You have it.
Well, and isn't that how this all started out?
Yeah.
You're waiting for that person.
Yeah.
And,
yes.
And remember the quote by Rawlings, it's like, if you want to know who can change your life, look in the mirror.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And
that goes back to what we've been saying the whole time, right? So I agree with you. And so then she kind of talked about, one of the posts, because the book is full of posts and letters from people and how their lives were changed. And one lady said, she was like 200 pounds overweight. And she said, eating canned raviolis, a bag of chips, and then having a Coke, and then complaining about being overweight, I was sabotaging my own efforts. And she said, and you know what changed my life?
What?
Every time I would get ready to order off of a menu or go pick up food at the grocery store, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, eat healthy. And she said, 200 pounds. She made that decision to not eat those canned raviolis, to not have that bag of chips, to not drink that Coke, and counts backwards and says 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, eat healthy. I'm not going to make that. I'm not going to eat that.
That's
So-
tough.
It's tough. It's tough.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's just one of the letters that was in there. I picked out that one because I thought it was pretty cool, you know.
Yeah.
And so as Mel Robbins, and actually we're gonna be finishing up earlier today, but
That's cool.
As Mel Robbins deconstructed her moment of change when she, stood up that morning, she came to some conclusions about success and about how we are all wired differently. And
Yeah.
she said everybody is going to be different, but right, and this is the one thing that I almost want to leave everybody with, but there's still a couple minutes. Right before we're about to do something that feels difficult, that feels scary, that feels uncertain, we always hesitate. Right? We always hesitate because we're nervous. You know, probably even when I asked you to be on the show, you're like, you know what I mean? And she says this, and I agree with this. Hesitation is the kiss of death. Hesitation, that moment, is the kiss of death from allowing you to go and be and do what you want to do. You know, so hesitation is the kiss of death. I thought that was pretty cool.
That is really good.
And that one small hesitation triggers in you a mental system that's designed to stop you. And it happens in less than 5 seconds. So just like that hesitation hits you too. And unfortunately, it's not the big moves that define us, it's the little ones. And the unfortunate part is we have learned and trained ourselves to hesitate, to think things through a little bit more. And so we've repeated this pattern of hesitating, of worrying, of doubting ourselves so much that these actions are now habits, a bad habit.
Yeah.
Right? Hesitating, worrying, and doubting ourselves becomes a bad habit that's been encoded in our brain, but it's because we've been doing it our whole life, as opposed to having that 5 seconds of just go do it. It feels right. This is what I need to
Were
be
you
doing.
born that way? Just going?
You know, I could say yes. I probably was.
That's just who you are.
I always had a lot of energy, and I always had to be doing something. So if anything would strike me, I would do it. But again, I'm still, compared to some of the people I know that are really
like Peter.
like get shit done kind of guys,
Yeah.
or women, I'm like, wow. I mean, there are some, and it's so funny because when I see that, those who don't hesitate are at the highest levels. You know what I mean? They're at the highest levels, and those that do hesitate, it's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, I like it.
So as we move on through this book, here's the next things we're going to be
Okay.
talking about. Habit loops, starting rituals. This is what, and again, I can't even really explain this yet because she just said,
Okay.
get ready. This is what we're going to be talking
Okay.
about. Activation energy,
Oh, I think that's going to be cool.
and the role that feelings play in triggering your decisions. So habit loops,
Okay.
starting rituals, activation energy, and the role that feelings play in triggering your decisions. That's what we're going to be moving on to next.
Okay.
Okay. So that's basically the big thing. And if we stop using it, stop using the 5 second rule, fear and uncertainty will creep back into our lives. So we should try this all week
Yeah.
this week.
Okay.
You and I should say that.
Okay.
Count it out, Jenny.
Okay, do
5,
it.
4. All right, go.
Go.
We should all do it.
All right, who's all
Everybody
gonna
should
do
do
it?
it. All right, Sonia, let's do it this week. I want
Okay, Mike's
Mike
gonna do
committed.
it.
He's going to do it. Denise
Teresa's
Hernandez, you in?
smiling.
All right, good. All right, Catherine, Brian. I mean,
Brian gave a little head nod.
It's okay, I'll take
Thanks,
it.
Thanks.
But they all nodded their heads within 5 seconds.
Yeah. Hey!
Right?
Oh!
I mean, shit, we're on our way. So here we
Done
go.
and done.
So again, if we stop using it, fear and uncertainty will creep back in. So let's just agree that we're not going to. And we're going to during this time,
Okay.
we're going to come face to face with excuses, these bad habits we have, these feelings of insecurities, right? These fears that have haunted us for years.
Yeah, our
And
whole lives
I'm one
probably.
of them. And let's just, and right now, I think as we do this, according to her, these are her words, not mine. I'm not cussing them, reading it right out of the book. You will see how your bullshit had wasted your time in your life.
I believe it.
You will see how your bullshit has wasted your time in your life. So
Yeah.
that's what she is saying that we're going to see. So basically, we just need to use this rule to become the person we're meant to become in the rest of our lives for the next phase anyway.
The next phase,
of our
yes. We're all in
life,
different seasons, and we have so many seasons to go.
Yes. So so that's the case. So basically, you know what? Those are the 3 chapters, and that's where we're at.
I
Is there
think
is there
yeah.
anything anybody wants to add?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to open this up for a minute or two, and then we're
Yeah.
gonna start rolling out of here
Hop
whenever
in,
we
guys.
finish. You know what? I know that he hates being picked on.
Uh-oh.
But I
Which
love
one?
the guy,
Who?
and I always like his opinion. So I think Brian, I'm going to have him hit unmute, and I know it bothers him.
As his head throws back.
You know what, though? But let's be honest. Brian has become a get shit done kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get something done in real estate, or, and he's traveling, and he's building a house, Brian, you're doing all those things, man, but
And still loving his family, being with his family.
Right.
He's balancing it.
So, do you institute any of that quick decision stuff? What are you doing, Brian?
I'm more motivated by fear of failure. Always have been.
I get that.
So I'm not much of a procrastinator, but it's because of fear.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of our top producers that we used to have, this is he's out of the business now, but when I asked him, I said, why are you so motivated? Why? And he said, I have fear of being broke. Mm-hmm. And I said, what? He goes, I get up every day. And he goes, I just have this fear of being broke. You remember that? You remember that, Sonia? You know who that was.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
I thought that was great to see it because that actually is what motivates me. I am so afraid that I'm going to be broke, and he's afraid he's going to fail. But what are those are? But some of the so the good part, Brian, is you're turning that fear into a drive.
Right.
I'm turning my fear into a drive.
Instead of it paralyzing you guys.
I mean, because a lot of times people be like, and then you can manifest it. I'm going to go broke. I'm going to go broke. I can't do it. I'm going to go broke. And next
so
thing
true.
Broke. Sonia, anything you want to add to that?
Oh, I just love having Brian in coaching because I utilize his fear of being broke a lot.
Hey, I just saw something, Sonia. Teresa's online. Did you want to ask her a little bit about what you were saying earlier?
Absolutely. Teresa, share what you were sharing with me because I love it.
Let me state this. Teresa is one of the best mentors we have in this company. Mm-hmm. She's helping over 20 agents. She's she had one of the best financial years she's had last year. And go ahead, Teresa. What's been going on?
Hey, I was watching actually on Facebook Live, so thank you, Sonia, so much. Really kind words. I did hear what you had to say, and I owe it to you too because you're pushing me along the way. But the other fantastic thing about using the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is how you feel afterwards. So I use it to mainly kind of shift from one thing that I'm doing where I might be hesitating too long because there's something else I don't want to do, and so I use the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and move on to the next task that I need to get done. And when you get that task done, you feel so good. You feel so great. Instead of later in the day, you still don't have that task done and it's still weighing on you. So I use it a lot just to keep myself moving from one thing that I've got to do to the next. And then I'm not procrastinating and I get so much done. So I don't know, Sonia, if you want to remind me what we were talking about. I'm not sure what you were.
Well, you were sharing that it made such a difference in your life because you aren't just thinking about doing it now. You just get up and do it. If it needs to be done, you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, done. Okay,
yeah.
and I love that.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't have things left undone. You don't have that worry in the back of your head. You don't have that hesitancy. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it's the countdown because everybody knows when you get to 1, it's a blast off. You got to go. So, What
I see in the last year and a half that we've been working together, so many accomplishments have been from your decision, just do it. Okay. Don't think about it. Right.
My pool was, I've wanted it for 30 years and
absolutely
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I called a pool guy. I didn't even hesitate. I just called him.
I love it. I love that.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, and Janie too. I don't know if Janie's on, but Janie and I talk about this book all the time. Also uses the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 rule.
Very cool.
So good. So we and I think in the next we should be able to, depending upon how thick it is, we should be able to wrap this up in the next week or two. But I am excited to hear about those next chapters of what she's got. The energy activators and all that sort of stuff. That should be pretty cool. And I love to see that there's people that are actually already having success with it because we know that it works. You know what? And I just got a text from somebody that just basically said, nothing motivates children more than that as well. 5, 4. Like if you want them to jump off a diving board or anything like that, nothing. And you know what? We're all just a bunch of big kids.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
So she's right. You know what I mean? Thank you for that.
They don't want a spanking.
Well, yeah, and that's Mom. You're gonna get it.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. The momster comes out, right?
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so that's basically it. If there's any other closing comments, though, you know what?
I have a closing comment.
Bring
it was
it.
something I was thinking when Teresa saying, get that done, So yes, this is kind of what we've already been talking about, eat that frog and all of that. But we all hear things differently. So we have to say it in so many different ways. It's just like when you go to church. They say the same things, but in so many different ways because we all hear differently. We all learn differently. And so like Chuck, you were worried that this is all stuff we all know. But we all have to hear it again and again because we all hear things differently and learn things differently. So I'm really excited about it,
Good.
especially that Teresa and Janie are already utilizing it. And
Well,
everything.
and I think the reason you're most excited about it is because you picked it. That's really what this comes
I
down
didn't
to.
think he was going to do it.
That's what it really comes down to.
At least he picks your books.
Oh, well, hey, come up with something that's not like, esoteric and we'll do just fine. So anyways, okay, so that's
Yeah.
it.
I have a closing comment too.
Oh,
Go ahead,
of
Adam.
course.
I just want to, again, thank you everyone who has been sharing these posts onto Facebook. It has really been helping us out a lot. It's keeping me and Michael employed, and I really appreciate it. If you feel so kind and you want to share this knowledge to the world, please click that share button on Facebook, share it to your friends, spread the word. We love you so much.
Oh, look at the marketing guy. Well, that's a pretty good plea. I like that. That made me feel like
Please share the post.
All right. Thank you guys. Michael, and by the way, thank you for everything. You guys have done an amazing job.
They have. Great job, guys.
And Jenny, thanks. And you know what?
Thank you.
5,
Four.
4,
3,
2,
2, 1.
We're out.
Bye.
Later, guys. Bye.